Hello and welcome World of Tanks console fans to our very first Wargaming GC Gamescom 2017 live stream. I'm Zamtrios from Wargaming Europe, and joining me here today are the one and only World of Tanks console development team members. We got Thor Parker and Alred Resendes. Guys, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I hope that the Chicago jet lag is over and you can enjoy Gamescom in all its glory.
Yeah, I think it is. How about you? You feeling it?
I don't go through that.
I
mean,
I never had any jet lag ever.
Haven't seen the stage show?
Yes, I have.
She's been a part of the stage show. She was on that stage, tossing the shirts out. She was going crazy.
It's crazy. The energy at Gamescom is just unreal.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's the first day we're open for public, and just looking at the stage and the booth floor behind us, you can see that it's filled with guests checking the new content that we're introducing to our games. And talking about new content, I guess we have a new arrival for World of Tanks console in the form of War Stories.
It's a special delivery.
Just
arrived yesterday.
So before we move to War Stories themselves, I would like to switch to my friend Zoltan, who is down there on the floor, as he takes us on a journey throughout the World of Tanks console booth. And right after that, we're back to our Wargaming GC studio to talk about War Stories. Am I right?
You are correct,
Sounds
sir.
fantastic.
So let's get the show on the road. Zoltan, take it from here.
Hey guys, I'm standing here in the console section of the booth. You can see the huge console banner behind me, and here are our game stations. We have 12 Xboxes and 12 PS4s, and you can try out the 4K client and also the new War Stories mode. However, I have a person here who can tell me more about what you can experience at Gamescom 2017. We have the console specialist here, Yuriko, who is also the high priest of the console master race, obviously. So Yuriko, can you tell us a bit more about what players can play at Gamescom?
So our main focus this year is going to be on War Stories. So War Stories is our PvE campaign mode. You can play it either by yourself or with a friend. Now, the way it works is that each campaign has a story mode in which you play with a specific tank that's attached to the story. We have these really cool motion comics and voiceovers that basically introduce you to the story. Once you have done playing it with the story mode tank, you can play with whichever tank you have in your garage. The cool thing about it is that this mode, which we call challenge mode, it will scale according to the tier of your tank. So at the higher tiers, it's going to be actually quite hard. But on top of that, we managed to get some Xbox One X prototypes, so we have the game running on 4K on those, and it looks amazing. It looks really good.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Guys, if you want to play console, this is the place to be. So I'm switching back to Zamtrios in the studio. Bye-bye.
Hey, we're back.
We're back.
Whoa, that was
so
fast.
That's how we do it.
By all the singing that happened.
We take over stream.
Okay, so
That's how we run it.
Thank you very much for the awesome presentation, Zoltan. We're back in the Wargaming GC studio. As mentioned before, I'm Zamtrios from Wargaming Europe, and right here with me are the one and only World of Tanks console development team members, Thor Parker, Alred Resendes, and the name of the game for today are the War Stories, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So what are they? What is War Stories, guys?
War Stories is really cool. It's actually the first, for World of Tanks, a narrative first-player, single-player story mode for World of Tanks console. So you get into the game and you're going to get a full single-player experience. You're going to get a story that takes you through 3 different chapters for each individual war story. And we just launched with 2 war stories yesterday. The first one is Brothers in Armor, which is a really cool story about a group of M4 Lend-Lease Shermans that got sent to the Battle of Romania for the Soviets to use. And you're a U.S. commander that's with those tanks, and you're sort of getting the Soviet crews familiar with this American armor. And of course, what happens? The Germans attack. And so you get thrown into the action there, and it's really awesome. You have these really cool comic book animations that tell the story in between each chapter, that sort of set the tone for you with some really great artwork and animation. And then the second one is Flashpoint Berlin, which is an alternate history story about the Berlin blockade. And, you know, we had the Berlin airdrop, and what if that didn't work out, and we got to bring that stuff in through land. And so you've got UK coming in to Berlin, and the Soviets are holding the city, and so obviously we got to take it back. So it's sort of a what-if scenario, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we can actually see it as part of our Wargaming GC booth.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's a thing of beauty. Yeah, You can't see it here, but there's this amazing, gigantic tank artwork behind us. That
beautiful artwork.
Yeah,
Since
for
we
War
do
Stories.
know a bit about War Stories at this point, I think it's a perfect opportunity to launch the awesome trailer that we have prepared.
Oh, we
Yes.
got a
for our
trailer?
viewers. Can we roll it? Our
Yeah,
dear video team.
Do I
let's show-
need?
A single day can change everything. One fall day in 1940, we knew Britain was impregnable, protected by the sea, and defended by brave souls on every clifftop. 24 hours later, all we could do was watch as the German forces took the coast and drove their tanks into the heart of the nation. When the blockade began in 1948, we thought the people of West Berlin would be safe. But the Soviets had other ideas. One December day is all it took for the fragile peace to shatter. And once again, the streets were filled with war and death. In 1962, we thought the Cuban Missile Crisis was a bluff. It was bravado, playground bullies flexing their muscles. No one would ever push the button. Then one day in October that year, someone did push it. An island paradise was turned into the epicenter of all-out thermonuclear war, threatening our very existence. These are our stories. Now, it's your turn.
Okay, so this is how it looks like. Pretty slick, I must say.
Yeah, thank you.
In total, how much time does it take to finish a campaign?
It all depends on how good of a World of Tanks player you are. It's going to offer challenges for our veteran players, but it's also going to be for new players that might not have had a chance to play World of Tanks on console yet. Give them an opportunity to get comfortable with the armor, get comfortable with the way the game runs, the mechanics of it, how to drive, how to shoot, that sort of stuff. But the thing is great about how long it takes you is, if you go through it in 10 minutes, you go through it in an hour, it unlocks a challenge mode after that. And with the challenge mode, you have different objectives that come up. You can bring in any tank that you have from your garage of World Tanks console into that
sweet.
game. So if you wanted to play War Stories with your Girls and Panzer tank, you could do that. And then the different tier tanks that you take into the game are going to scale the difficulty of it. So if you want a real challenge, you take a tier 10 tank into War Stories, you're going to face off against tier 10 enemies.
It gets brutal. It really does.
Yeah, it
The
does.
higher
It's not
the tier,
easy.
the more difficult it is.
Yeah, like the second and third chapters, the difficulty, even just the first time you go through it, it really scales, and it took me like 3 or 4 times to get past the third chapter to complete Flashpoint Berlin. It's not easy.
Okay, so I should be able to take my beloved Frostbite Grizzly on the roll? Yeah?
You could do that. You got to
Oh,
beat
yes.
it first.
Okay, so we got the challenge mode. Is there anything there for me for completing the campaigns that I get that maybe I can use in PvP later, or just
Oh, there might be.
There might be. That's a secret to everyone.
No, there is. No, it's no secret. It's actually really great. So the War Stories, they come with special tanks and crews that are specific to the story that you're playing in the narrative.
wow.
So in the first story, the American commander that comes over with the Lindley Shermans, Commander Peters is his name, and his crew perk is Sixth Sense, and he comes in this Soviet-branded M4 Sherman, which just looks amazing to see the M4 Sherman with a red star on it instead of the white star. So once you complete War Stories, that tank and that crew, they come to your multiplayer. So you're going to earn that tank by completing War Stories.
Okay, that's awesome. Before that, you mentioned the comic book strips, the comic book inspired cinematics that are in the game. Are you planning to stick to that art direction when it comes to War Stories, or maybe there'll be like a twist on it, maybe a collaboration with a known artist?
Yeah, we have a different artist actually for every War Story. So the 2 War Stories that you see that are out now, you're going to see a different art style between the 2. So, and we plan on continuing that in the future because we like the idea of sort of building the sort of a universe of World of Tanks, but through several different eyes. You know, it's never going to look the same to the same person. You know, different perspectives depending on where you are. And so having these different art styles there sort of gives us that ability to see the world of tanks through several different artists' eyes, and I think that's a really cool thing to do. So the very first one, Brothers in Armor, features the artwork of PJ Holden, who also was the artist for the World of Tanks rollout comic book from Dark Horse. So we're already we're dipping back into the success we had with that comic book series and using PJ to do the animatics for our first war story, and there's really no telling where it could go. I mean, we're thinking, you know, these stories will have a life of their own eventually.
That's great, and I do believe it should be the same for the music as well. If I'm right, for this particular war stories, we have a composer that used to be a Merkava crew member. Is that right?
Yeah, Ian Zur, I believe is. I can't. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But he's worked on games like Fallout 3. He's a BAFTA-nominated composer, so really high caliber stuff, and so new original music for war stories as well.
So yeah, definitely a AAA experience here.
Yeah, for sure, and free.
Free, absolutely for free. That's a very important thing to point out.
Free to play.
Even if you don't have an Xbox Gold account, if you're on Silver Try, you can still play the game out for free.
So what will future bring for War Stories?
What do you want it to bring, man? We can do anything. That's the beauty of War Stories.
On the fantasy side, I would love to revisit Mars outside of the April Fool's mode. And maybe we could...
You know, I've heard that a lot this week already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so maybe we're getting somewhere.
Well, you know, that's really the thing that we love about War Stories is those experiences that we do for the game that are only those short modes. The fans, I mean, they go crazy for that stuff, and we love to do stuff like that for them. We put a lot of work into those modes, and to see them only go up for 2 days is almost like it's a tragedy for us too. We want them to be up there longer. So War Stories gives us the ability when it comes to fantasy campaigns is, you know, anything that really strikes us as something that would be really cool to do in World of Tanks. You know, there's nothing stopping us because it's not affecting the multiplayer. Our core audience, our love, our first love is World of Tanks multiplayer. And the thing that's so great about War Stories is that anything that we bring to War Stories is gonna live on its own. And so the core audience of multiplayer, if they aren't excited by War Stories, they're still gonna get the first-rate experience that they always get. They're still going to see the regular updates. They're still going to have their game. But War Stories is going to give people options. It's going to give them variety. It's going to give them just, you know, something extra that they might not be expecting.
Okay, you mentioned multiplayer, and on my side, well, I'm totally into that narrative stuff. I really like the direction in which the game itself is going. Like, we're strengthening the possibility for the player to tell the story here and there, like for instance with changing the crew voices and avatars. So for instance, and mentioned Frostbite Grizzly, I got Ryan Reynolds behind the wheel here and there, so I can like kind of do it myself, my own way. But let's say we have a gentleman or a lady that is not interested in the narrative at all. It's a hardcore player versus player gamer.
Sure.
What is there for them in the future on World of Tanks console?
Oh, we know.
You
got
do know.
this.
Do we have an answer for that?
Yeah, we are super excited to announce that as of yesterday, we finally released user-generated tournaments through Arena on Xbox Live. So players who have clubs on Xbox and they want to host their own tournaments, they can do so now. So we're able to introduce Encounter Standard and Team Destruction, and players would be able to select in between tier ranges of 1 through 3, 4 to 7, and then 8 through 10. And they also have the ability to extend as many teams as they want, up to 256. So that's where we're at right now. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Huge.
Yeah, I can already picture our players hosting their own tournaments. And our goal as World Tanks Console is to see our players enter the competitive gaming realm. We've been on multiplayer since we started in 2013. We already have the population and just the player base to extend into that department up there. So we certainly are so excited and looking forward to that. We are not leaving our PlayStation fans on their own. We are going to push for user-generated tournaments towards the end of the year. That's our current goal right now. But so far, the feedback has been great, and our players are super excited. Looking forward to the future of definitely competitive gaming, esports on console.
Sounds great. All right, please tell me, so how does it work? Is Xbox Arenas are probably part of the dashboard, just like groups are in Mixer, correct?
Yes,
okay,
yes, absolutely.
So I want to set up a tournament. Do you know how it works? Where do I go from here?
You know, one of the things that we like about Arenas and Xbox Live is that the UI is very simple.
Yeah.
Players are not required to hop into the computer whatsoever. So they can generate the teams, they can submit the descriptions, they can select the tier range, time, and checking availability. So it's all provided on the Arena and Xbox Live UI.
And that sounds great. Guys, thank you very much for the conversation.
Thank you so much for having us.
Is this it?
you.
Oh, we're
No,
done
thank
already?
you.
Party!
Oh, come on.
You want to sing
can't-
Thor? You want to sing Thor?
No, we don't
No,
have the rights to
come
any of the
on.
songs I want to sing. I don't want to. I don't want to get us in trouble.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, thank you for having
Thank
us.
you very much.
And,
Thank you so
for
much.
everybody out there,
Yes.
I hope
Yep.
if you're not going to be at Gamescom this weekend, next year come see us. And if you do come this weekend, come say hi to us. We're around and we'd love to meet you.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you very much for staying with us, World of Tanks console fans. If you're interested in getting more information on the game itself, just stick to our World of Tanks console fan page on Facebook and Twitter. There are more streams coming down the road later this week. We're going to talk about more interesting things related to console.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Absolutely.
For everything else, Wargaming, just tune in into our official hashtag WargamingGC. It's not only your key to more information about what's going on here, but also a chance to win cool gaming mouse, gaming keyboard, gaming chair, and a lot more stuff. All you gotta do.
This beautiful chair here. Oh,
Yeah,
I gotta have it.
I'm sticking with
He's
this.
gonna
one.
walk out with that chair. Just
Yeah,
keep
I'm
an
taking
eye
it.
on him,
Brand
please.
new improvement. Come on, I just got it. They say I did good, so.
You just got
It looks
comfortable.
good on you. It looks good on you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And those console colors, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh yes.
So all you gotta do, guys, is share feedback about a game, share a picture from Gamescom, picture from your house as you're playing the game. Just include Wargaming GC hashtag and you're in. Apart from that, we got pretty slick overlays for the Facebook profile pictures, heavily inspired by Gamescom 2017. So check those. Check our Instagram channel, man. There's so much stuff to check, just like on Gamescom, right?
And definitely
Yes.
check out War Stories.
Check War Stories most of all. And for those of you who speak German, we also got a Snapchat account in German, Wargaming for more backstage insight into our show. Guys, thank you very much.
Oh, let's high five it.
Thank you. Yeah, you can only have. There you go. There
We
you
did
go.
it.
Virtual high
You
five.
did it.
Thank you guys, and roll out. See you on the battlefield.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot.
Thank you.